Hello my friends, today we're gonna make a frickin' huge future bounce drop similar to Dirty Palm in FL Studio 20. Alright guys, let's start by making some nice chords. Now let's copy and paste the chords and let's change the last 3 chords from this in the first half to this in the second half. We want the melody and chords to tell a story, and this will create a nice little ending. Now let's chop the chords up and create the rhythm we want in the drop. And let's lastly create a catchy melody that follows the same rhythm. Nice. Now my lovely people, let's create a freaking huge lead. We want the lead to be the focus of the drop, so it needs to be tight as hell. We'll begin with a serum layer playing the lead melody. Now we'll add some more layers to make the lead bigger and fatter. Now guys, let's add some mixing effects. The lead sounds quite nice now in my opinion, so our goal here is to make it as powerful as humanly possible while still keeping that nice warm sound. We'll start with a reverb. The reason we're adding the reverb first is that when we add compression afterwards, the reverb will also get compressed and therefore become more powerful. The second thing we'll add is some compression using OTT, then an EQ removing some harsh frequencies to make the lead cleaner, some compression and distortion with Camel Crusher and EQ, some more distortion using Fruity Fast Dist, and a couple more EQs to make the lead cleaner. Lastly, I added a Fruity Stereo Shaper to make the lead wider. This is what the lead sounds like without the mixing effects. And this is with. Now let's add an automation for the reverb to make the lead sound more controlled. We're also gonna add a volume automation for the lead mixer track to make it even more controlled and snappy. This is without the volume automation. And this is with. It's really important and will make the drop a lot tighter. Now let's add a pitch automation to make the lead melody more interesting. In order to fill out these little breaks in the lead, we'll add some lead shot samples. And lastly, we're gonna add a few vocal chops on top to add a tiny bit of spice on the lead. Nice. Now my friends, we're gonna make a powerful bass line that complements the lead. But first, I would truly appreciate it if you subscribed and turned on post notifications. Alright guys, let's start with this serum layer playing the bass line. As you can see, I took a few of the notes an octave up to make the bass line more interesting. Now we're gonna add some more layers to make the bass fat. Let's also add this volume automation for the bass. Now my friends, it's time to mix the bass. Our goal when mixing the bass is to make it a lot more powerful and fat without clashing with the lead. Let's start by mixing the mid bass. We'll begin by adding an EQ to shape the sound, then some compression and distortion using Camel Crusher, another EQ, a lot of compression using OTT, some distortion with Fruity Fast Dist, then I added an EQ removing some ugly frequencies created by the distortion and OTT, a soundizer for some more power, and a final EQ. This guys is what the mid bass sounds like without the mixing effects. And this is with. Now my friends, let's quickly mix the sub bass to add some power. We'll take the sub from this to this. In order to achieve that, we'll add some distortion, OTT, soundizer, and an EQ removing the highs. To make the bass more interesting, we're gonna add a pitch automation. We're also gonna add this drop clap sample that follows the same rhythm as the bass to make it a bit fatter and bigger. Now guys and gals, let's make some nice chords to add some emotion to the drop. We'll begin with the serum layer playing the chords. Now let's add a couple more chord layers. Now we're gonna add some mixing effects to make the chords a lot more powerful. Let's start by adding an EQ, then compression with OTT, a second EQ, distortion and compression using Camel Crusher, some soundizer, and a couple more EQs to really shape the sound to what we want. Lastly, I added a fruity stereo shaper to make the chords wider. This, my friends, is what the chords sound like without the mixing effects. And this is with. Guys, we are also gonna use the same volume automation as the bass on the chords to make them fit with the rest of the drop. This is what the chords and bass sound like together, guys. To add some more emotion to the drop, we're gonna add some harmony chords on top. The harmony chords consist of a simple saw layer playing these notes. While being controlled by this cutoff automation. Let's also add a nice little melodic fill for when the melody stops playing. The fill consists of a piano layer playing these notes. And a vocal phrase. Now my friends, let's quickly add some nice drums and effects. We'll start by adding some drum elements. Now we're gonna add some percussion following the rhythm of the lead. Then a brass stab playing the same notes as the bass line. And lastly, some clap loops to add some more energy. That was all of the elements in the drop, guys. If you want to support me, I would truly appreciate it if you followed my Instagram account. I'll be posting a story every time I upload a video. Link is in the description. Alright boys, here we go. If you liked the video, please be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Love you guys.